When I was younger, I watched a lot of cartoons and a lot of movies. I just loved how they could transport you into a different world and allow you to experience a different life. Then I got older and I watched the same amount of cartoons and movies, but I started to read a little more. I started to read more books, plays, scripts, and poems. Naturally, I grew a great appreciation for them. So then, by the time I was a senior in high school, I took a British Lit and composition course that required a lot of reading that year. I read the most amount of books, plays, and poems in that one class than I have in my entire life, and I loved it, especially the plays. It was then I realized I like dialogue. I love dialogue. It made each character feel real. No matter what genre the story took place in, the characters always felt real and authentic. And when I read Macbeth by Shakespeare, it put all the things that I loved, the film, the visuals, and the dialogue, and combined them all and created a wonderful and whimsical story that kind of took you around the world to places you've never imagined. Those elements together inspired me to write. And I've always had stories in my head that I imagined, but I never knew how to create them. I never had any idea on how to even begin writing them. It was until I read those plays and those books that I discovered a small hint on how to write. So I did. I wrote short stories inspired by poems like Macbeth and stories like Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. I wrote stories for my friends, and they loved it. It was then I realized I wanted to write more, but I wanted to develop an authentic story that would touch people's hearts, like the movies that I loved. So I started writing screenplays, and I attended Full Sail University and got my master's in creative writing. My focus now is to impact the film and entertainment industry with my drive to create a more diverse film, a more authentic film that will reach audiences that are similar to me, that come from the same walks of life. And with my training at Full Sail, I learned skills like networking, where I've spoken to people, and they confirmed that they wanted to see more diverse films, more original content. And that is where I will apply my creative development skills that will help create more complete, authentic, and diverse characters and place them in wonderful stories. I will apply a visual storytelling skill to help enhance these films and make them visually appealing and emotionally beautiful, but also diverse, where all sorts of people can relate to them. All of these skills will be applied at DreamWorks Animation Studios, who has always done a great job with diverse stories and characters, but together, I believe we can change the film industry. We can make it into a more diverse and authentic story-driven industry that will give people like me a chance to tell our stories, that will diversify the industry, make it more relatable, that would tell stories from the perspective of people who don't have a voice, to help tell stories of people whose stories need to be told, but they just don't know how.